fast can I explain the basics of trigonometry? We're about to find out. So you start by learning about right triangles, and right triangles have this little 90-degree cusp. Now you'll also typically be given an angle or have to calculate an angle, and that can be measured in either radians or degrees. Make sure that you have your calculator in the right mode. There's a degree mode and a radian mode. The side opposite to your angle is the opposite side. The side next to your angle is the adjacent side. The longest side is called the hypotenuse, and you can calculate all of these using trigonometric functions. Now notice that the sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. The cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and then the tangent is opposite over adjacent. So let's see if using these calculations here we can solve some aspects of our right triangle. So let's say that we're trying to calculate this x and we're trying to calculate this theta. So the way we can do this is using the trig functions down below. And looking here, I can see we have an opposite side and an adjacent side. So the one I'm going to use is the tangent right here, because tangent of theta is opposite over adjacent. Now we have the opposite and adjacent side, so we can plug those in. And then to get rid of the tangent, you want to do something called the inverse tangent. So if you take the inverse tangent of this side and the inverse tangent of this side, these will cancel and you'll be left with just theta. Now to type an inverse tangent in your calculator, you're going to press the second key on your calculator and then type the tangent button, and that's going to give you the inverse tangent. If you type that into your calculator and plug 3/8 into your inverse tangent, approximately 20.6. So what that means is if you're in degree mode, 20.6 degrees is the approximation of this angle right here. So now we have 20.6 degrees and we want to calculate this length of the triangle, which is the hypotenuse. So I can see that I can use either of these equations right here, but personally for me, I'm going to go with the sine. The sine of our angle is opposite over hypotenuse. Now we have opposite side right here and we have the hypotenuse right here, so let's plug those variables in. In this case, we have 3, we have x, and remember we calculated this 20.6 degree angle. Make sure you're in degree mode for these calculations, by the way. The way that I'm going to solve this is by multiplying both sides by x. That gets the x's to cancel. Now I can take my x times the sine of 20.6 equals 3, divide both sides by the sine of 20.6, those will cancel, and then I just have x equals 3 over the sine of 20.6. If you type this into your calculator, make sure you're in degree mode, you're going to get approximately 8.53. So this has a hypotenuse of 8.53, and we have just solved this right triangle. So now we're trying to find the total angle in radians. Notice we make a 30-degree angle with the x-axis here, and the way that we can find the total angle is by starting right here in this first quadrant and traveling through all the quadrants until we land on our vector right here. So in this case, the way we're going to calculate this is we can see that we make a full 360-degree rotation if we go all the way around. And we can see this 30 degrees here is just a little displacement within this 360-degree rotation. So if I take 360 degrees and subtract off the 30 degrees, that's going to give me 330 degrees, and that right there is the total angle that I have from my starting point up here. But notice this still is not the final answer because we want our answer to be in radians. And so to change this to radians, all you have to do is take whatever your degree calculation is and multiply it by pi over 180. What you'll end up with is this fraction, which is 330 pi over 180. And then what you can do is you can reduce the 330 and the 180 to get 11 over 6. Pi is going to be the unit carries through right here. That's a general introduction to trigonometry.